In this video, I'm going to take you through the most common questions that Marshalls ask in their interviews and help you prepare some really strong answers that will get you a job working in one of the Marshall stores. So let's start with a question that Marshalls ask all the time, and one that is extremely important to get right. And that is simply, what's your availability? And they're going to be really, really interested to know what times you're actually able to work. And if you answer this badly, your chance of getting the job is going to go down by a lot. So I'm going to show you what they're looking for in the answer and then what you can say. So fundamentally, they want you to be flexible. So show off as much flexibility as possible. And I'll tell you some phrases you can use that show the flexibility that's going to help them make a decision to hire you. Then you have to think about making sure you meet Marshall's needs. So think about what they need and why they are actually asking you this question. Then you want to demonstrate a can-do attitude. So if they're asking you, could you work at these times? They're asking for a reason. And if you're saying no to those times, it's going to be a problem. So you want to be trying to say yes as much as possible to help you get the job. And fundamentally, you want to show some commitment to the job. The worst way you can answer this is by saying that I can't work this time, I can't work this time, and basically giving them a list of all the times you can't work, which is basically a list of reasons not to hire you. You want to focus on all the things that you can do and not spend ages talking about what you can't do. So the best answer has various ingredients. So I'm going to show you some phrases that are really good to use, and you can choose which ones match what you're looking for. So one phrase you can say is that you're happy to work to meet business needs, so you can work lots of different times and you can work around what the company needs from a staffing perspective. And that's quite a good answer. You can say that you're happy to work the full range of opening hours. So if you're very, very flexible and you don't have any restrictions on your time, saying something like, I can work the full range of opening hours really is about the perfect answer. You could say, I can work the hours on the job advert. So if the advert for the job at Marshalls had specific times, you can just say, I can work those, because that's what they're looking for. You could say that you're open to overtime. It's a good thing to volunteer, and it means if there is overtime, you will be paid more for it. There may not be any overtime, but it's just good and very positive to say that you're open to that. You could also say that you can work at short notice if needed. Hopefully, you won't be needed to work at short notice, but of course, you would probably like some more hours, and that's going to boost your salary. So you could say that you can work at short notice if needed, and that's another good way of showing flexibility and showing that you're going to be helpful and useful to the business. So that's how you get through the what's your availability question and score highly. Pick the right phrases, show them that you can work the times that they need, and then you'll be successful. The next question that comes up quite a lot is, what can you tell me about Marshalls? Unsurprisingly, if you turn up to your interview and you don't know anything about the company, or you can't talk very much or very confidently about the business, you're probably not going to do very well. So I'm going to show you how you can answer this question and actually go through all the facts that you can take to your interview to make sure that you're well prepared for that interview. So the way you answer this is you start by stating the absolute obvious. Say the things that everybody knows about the company to show that you know the basics. Then you want to move out the way on that diagram. You want to show that you know more than others, and then you want to impress them with one or two facts that only people that have actually taken some good time to research the company would actually know. And I'm going to go through those facts and show you how this company actually functions. So the first thing you say is they're an off-price department store chain. That is what their business focuses on. Then you can say what they mainly sell. So it's an apparel and home fashion led business. You can also say that they focus on post-season, overrun, and closeout stock. That's how they get such good prices on their products, because that's one of the main places that their buyers source the products from. It's based around a treasure hunt idea. It's very much like TJ Maxx and other stores like that. It's very similar in format. And they are famous for one of their slogans, which is "Your surprise is waiting." What they're building in the store is this idea that the stock's always changing. You're going there and you're going to find something brilliant. You're going to find something at an amazing price, and there's a bit of excitement there. They have very regular deliveries. So a typical department store would have much, much fewer deliveries, and their stock doesn't turn over as quickly. So at Marshalls, stuff is flying out the door very quickly, and so the contents of the stock is constantly changing. So if you go to the store one week and then you go the next week, is completely different. That's why it's a bit of a treasure hunt. It's a surprise what's going to be available. It's got extremely fast moving stock. So you can say that the company Marshalls has fast moving stock, because that's a super important part of their business, is that they can turn over their stock so much faster than other chains. They have immense buying power, and that's the secret to Marshall's success. The success comes mainly through their power to buy things in at very good prices. So Marshalls are selling things that are good quality at very low prices, and the only way that they can do that and make money is by being able to buy them at a very good price. And that's the key to their success. They are very much no frills. They are trying to deliver the products at the lowest possible price, and so they can still make money. They've got to keep costs down in the business. So that's what we say with no frills. It was founded by Alfred Marshall, and it traces its history all the way back to 1956. It's now part of TJX company. So TJ Maxx and Marshalls are currently owned by the same company. So that's perhaps why you may see similar stock and lots of similarities between the companies. They are quite proud of their charity support. So Marshalls does donate quite a lot of money to various charities, and you can talk about that as being something that's important to you and supporting your community and charities, and that's something that Marshalls does. That's another good thing to take to your interview. And my top tip, if you want to be super well prepared, is you can read TJX Company's annual report to really understand exactly how the business works, to go one step further. And also what you can do is you can go onto their About Us page on their website, where it'll go through the same things that I've went through here, and just keep your knowledge very strong for your interview. So you can screenshot this page if you want, take these facts to your interview, and you'll be ready to answer this question. So let's move on to another super important question, which is why Marshalls? Unsurprisingly, they're going to be very interested in knowing why you've chosen Marshalls. Why do you want to work for Marshalls? You could work for lots of different companies, but why is it this one? And for this question, you don't want to make it up on the day. You want to actually take some time to think up an answer and have one ready, or even just write down and plan out, even with just bullet points, a good answer. So I'm going to give you some inspiration of things that you can think about and things that you can say. So the first thing to definitely think about is, what would you actually enjoy about working at the company? So if you're going to enjoy your work, you're probably going to be better at it. So you want to explain to them why you're going to enjoy working here. And that's one reason why you've decided to apply there. So think about, do you enjoy working with lots of people in a team? Do you enjoy meeting new people? Do you know a lot about fashion and the products that they sell? Are you really interested in retail roles? Have you worked in retail before and you really enjoyed it? The next thing you can think about is, how does Marshalls match your skills and experience? Are you someone who is very good at communicating? Are you someone that is really good at providing great customer service, helping customers, solving problems, and providing a great service? And that's one of your key skills. Have you got experience working in customer-facing roles? That could be any job where you're working directly with customers, even, for example, working in a restaurant. That's also brilliant customer service experience. And so this is a job that matches your skills and matches your experience, and you can say that. Then the next thing you can think about is, could you build a career here? There's obviously going to be opportunities for people who stay with the business and work really hard and are very good at their job to take on a little bit more leadership and move up in the company. Do you see yourself staying here for a long time and building a career with the company? It's a big growing industry and they're doing very well recently, so you might want to talk about that. But the most important thing is always be enthusiastic. If you're not enthusiastic in answering this question, it really doesn't look good. You've got to be enthusiastic. Otherwise, they question whether you're really very motivated to join the company. Some other inspiration of certain things you can mention is, say that you're interested in fashion, if that's the case. Talk about that you see that longer term, there's progression opportunities within the company. If you know someone who does work at Marshalls, don't name them. You don't have to say who they are, but you can talk about the fact that you've spoken to people you know who work for the company, maybe not even at this location, and they've said lots of positive things about the company and recommended that you apply, and you can share in their enthusiasm and positivity for the role. If you've shopped there for a long time, you can talk about your experience as a customer and why you really like the brand, and that can be part of your motivation. You could say that they provide outstanding value for money for their customers and that they're doing a good job at helping people save money, and that's an important thing. You could say that you're interested in having a job which is fast paced and you're doing varied work. You could be restocking 1 minute, doing checkout the next minute, speaking to customers the next minute, and just jumping between lots of different jobs. And these could be things that are part of your motivation for getting the job. So choose as many of these as apply to you, plan out an answer to this, and then you'll have a good, strong answer to why you want to work for this company. And let's have a look now at another question which they often ask, which is what is meant by good customer service? So they'll ask about times where you provided good customer service. And to do that, you need to know exactly what good customer service looks like. And I'm going to give you a few great phrases that you can use. And if you remember a few of these phrases, you can start talking about these and it'll give you quite a good, strong, confident answer. So the first phrase that you can use is that good customer service comes from a customer focused culture. So the culture of the company is all about delivering good customer service, and that comes from management, that comes right through the whole store, and it's a big focus. Everything that company does is to deliver good service to their customers. It's friendly. You have to be approachable. You have to have a good smile and have people have confidence in you. And that friendliness is such an important part of good customer service. If you have someone that's unfriendly, it ruins the whole customer experience. Then in order to deliver good customer service, you have to be knowledgeable. You have to know the company's products. When you get a question, you have to know the answer. Because if customers ask questions and you don't know, and you don't know, and you don't know, it's ruining the experience. Then it's always consistent. It shouldn't matter who you talk to in the store. It shouldn't be, well, if you speak to this person, you'll get good service. But if you speak to her, it's going to be terrible and you're going to go and leave the store in a huff. That's not a good way of having good customer service. It has to be, it doesn't matter what store you go to, what person you talk to, you're always going to get good customer service. Then it's about always learning and improving, which means that if something doesn't go perfectly, if a customer has a complaint or something goes wrong, that the company immediately learns from it. Or if something's not working so well and you're not delivering for your customers in as good a way as you wanted, you learn from that, and there's constant improvements in service. When things change at the company, there's feedback, and then that gets changed, and make sure that service levels are always really high. And then the last thing you say is that the company is proactive in meeting customers' needs. So it's not just that the customer has to come to you to ask for something. You're out there and looking and trying to be actively helpful. That's the last ingredient of really great customer service. So basically, when you're asked about this, just go through each of these: having a customer-focused culture, being friendly, being knowledgeable, always consistent, doesn't matter who you speak to, same high-quality service. It's always a learning and improving organization, and that the company is proactive in meeting its customers' needs. Talk about those and you'll fly through this question. Let's look at the next question, which is, can you tell me about your previous experience? A lot of people just say the jobs that they've done and they don't really get the full benefits of this question. So let's look at what they're looking for and how to answer it. So they want you to match Marshall's skills needs. So think about what skills Marshall's needs. They need people that have got customer service experience, that can provide good customer service and can work confidently in a store environment. That's what you need to show. Then they're going to be scanning for negatives, and a good hiring manager is going to be trying to figure out which are the wrong people to employ. And they may dig into your history and try and see if they can find anything that doesn't look too good. And so you need to be ready for that. And then if there's no negatives and you got the right skills, then you look like a good hire. So you can convince them that you're a good hire in this question. So the first thing you do is give you a complete job title. Don't just give them a simplified title. Give them your actual title that explains what you did. Then think about what were your responsibilities. So say exactly what you did. Don't just give them the job title and move on. Say all the things you're responsible for, because what they're going to be doing is matching up your responsibilities in your previous jobs to this job and seeing that they match up. And then you can talk about the skills that you developed and the things that you learned. So, for example, if you worked in a restaurant, you could talk about that you learned good customer service skills, you got some mentoring, and you worked with really experienced people who taught you a lot of the skills. You dealt with with customer complaints, you dealt with difficult customers, you solved customers' problems, you got good, consistent tips because you were quite good at that job. You can talk about things like that. Then you want to just have ready a good reason for leaving. So they may ask, why did you leave this job, or why are you leaving your current employer? And you want to have a good reason. And you want to talk about the positives of joining Marshalls and why this is a perfect job for you. And you see this as a great opportunity. And you also want to never say anything negative about a previous employer. So they ask, why are you leaving, or why have you left this? Don't say anything bad about your previous employer, because it's really, really, really a wrong thing to do in an interview. And then the most important thing is to explain how your experience helps Marshalls. So talk about your past roles and then explain how that is going to make you a good employee. And so my top tip for success when talking about your experience is you've got to prove that you've got the skills for doing a good job at Marshalls. So look at your previous jobs, think about what you did, match it up to what you're applying for, and tell them that story, and you'll fly through this question. So before we finish, as a bonus, here's some great questions that you can ask at the end of your interview. And before we look at the questions you could ask, don't even think about asking about holidays, transferring to another store, or pay. These are questions you want to either find out the answer before your interview without asking the company, or not ask at all, because it's going to hurt you and reduce your chance of getting the job. Good questions to ask. One you could say is, could you guide me through the next steps in the hiring process at Marshalls post-interview? One, you probably want to know, and two, it shows that you really, really are interested in getting the job. Then you could say, is there anything that you would recommend that a new hire do now to be well prepared for starting if successful at interview? And then you can make a commitment to doing what they suggest you could do to prepare. You could ask, could you tell me about the team you have built here at Marshalls, and show a real genuine interest in your colleagues and understanding how the store works? You could ask, what are the characteristics of highly effective Marshall employees? Because it'll help you when you start the job knowing what you need to do a good job, and you can match the characteristics of high-performing employees to your resume and your experience. And lastly, you can try and think up one on the day, double check that it's an appropriate question before you ask it. But if they say something in the interview that you wonder about, you may want to come back to that and ask them. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I'd appreciate if you post in the comments what questions Marshalls asked you at interview, because that lets us build up a great database of all the questions that can come up. And I'd appreciate also if you'd like and subscribe if this video was helpful. And finally, thank you very much for watching.